Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Bird Day, Tony. Are you going to celebrate this?
Already
you got
did.
this feathers in my teeth.
Already did.
That junk out
Already
of here.
did.
At least the feathers are purple and white. Purple and white feathers I can take. The green, the Binghamton feathers, I don't like those.
The purple and white feathers came out of the Northwestern Wildcat. Finally killed them, happy to say. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, we will look at all 4 NFL playoff games and the Raiders' reported 10-year offer for John Gruden. But we begin today with an ESPN report about the disintegrating relationship between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The story highlights the recent pushback by the Patriots towards Brady's training guru, Alex Guerrero, and it suggests Brady may have had a hand in the trading of Jimmy Garoppolo. The Patriots have denied everything, but nobody believes the Patriots. Wilbon, what do you make of this reported rift?
Tony, a lot of different things. I mean, some of it is okay. Like Tom Brady hates the backup quarterback if he did. Like every starting quarterback hasn't hated the backup quarterback. I mean, Joe Montana.
They share the same agent, though. They may be close. They share the same agent.
I remember Favre, your boy Brett Favre, and how he treated Aaron Rodgers. And Joe Theismann has told us he wouldn't even let the backup take a snap.
That's right.
He would just run in the huddle and say, "Get out! You're not taking any snaps." So this is not new.
I think Peyton Manning did that too.
Yeah, I think he did. So we got a long history.
Yeah.
And we also have a long history of great teams with multiple championships. It's got to end. I mean, at some point, Tony, these guys have been together for 18 years, Belichick and Brady. And
each one may be the greatest of all time at his position, yes.
And so somebody gets offended, somebody's feelings are hurt, whether you go back to Shaq and Kobe and back to that, the Jordan and Phil Jackson Bulls and somebody like, it all has to end. So even though the facts may be true, I don't know what to make of them. What's the context?
Well, I mean, we sat here a month ago when the story came out about the Patriots saying, get this guru out of our office.
TB12.
And we asked each other, is it a big deal, little deal, or no deal? And I told you it's a mammoth deal if it's true.
I didn't think
a mammoth deal because I said they are a playoff team. They could win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Why now? Why would you go after, and you're going after Brady, why would you do this now? I don't know to what degree this story expands and chokes the life out of the Patriots, because I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
Because I think that Brady and Belichick are extraordinary professionals, but if they were to lose a game, people will point to this and say, you see, they're fractured up there.
Well, they
just
don't win every year.
No, but they've won more than anybody.
Let's go back. I mean, let's look at the same sport. Let's look at the Bill Walsh, Joe Montana. Okay, it broke up.
Yeah.
I mean, Jerry went somewhere else. Joe went somewhere else. Bill tired.
Well,
and they still, so it's got to end at some point. Do we have to point to some sort of scandal?
I think that Tom Brady will lose his value to the Patriots before Bill Belichick does.
Wouldn't that point then to Belichick wanting to keep Garoppolo and being upset that he was forced to trade him if he was?
Two things have to be said. Brady is a miracle at 40. Yeah. He's a miracle. He's the MVP. He might be terrible at 41 or he might be great again. And with Belichick, we don't know what day he's going to walk in and go, sayonara, I'm done.
I don't know. 18 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Got to end some point, just like you and me.
No.
You know? No. I'm going to go to your backup. Who's your backup again? The young kid?
We are the only people in sports who still like each other. You came and had chili last night. We ate dinner together.
Very good. Thank you for naming the chili.
Although I do like Pablo.
I like that. You should name the ginger ale after me, too. Let's move on to the NFL playoffs, which begin tomorrow afternoon in Kansas City with a visit from Tennessee. The Titans are in the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. And they kind of, sort of limp in with Marcus Mariota hurting, DeMarco Murray out, which could be problematic for what some are calling a smash-mouth offense. Tony, the Chiefs have lost 5 straight playoff games at home in Kansas City, the worst such mark in league history. So, who you got?
I got Kansas City. I got them on recent form. I think that they are significantly better. I think they go over the number, and the number is high. The number is 8.5. I am concerned about your statistic. And I understand
Tony,
that.
they're 1-9 in the playoffs. That covers 23 years. The franchise in the playoffs just no good.
So just tell me what you love about Tennessee, because I don't think Tennessee is a particularly good team. I don't think Marcus Mariota at the moment is a particularly good quarterback.
No, I don't either.
He's got, I think, 13 touchdowns and 15 interceptions this year. As recently as a couple of weeks ago, Mike Mularkey's job was supposedly in jeopardy. So this is one of those games where I think, boy, oh boy, Kansas City, which started out great, then fell down, and has finished really well. I think they're 4-0 in their last 4. They should win this game.
Yeah, you wonder if they're like the Dodgers of the NFL season. Great start, bad middle, great ending, and maybe they'll put something together. But you know what happens, Tony? I have been to at least 2 of those losses at home in the playoffs covering the games, and it's a great home field advantage in the regular season. And the moment they fall behind 3-0, this is what you'll hear.
Really?
I mean, it gets depressed quickly. I mean, it seems like they have, I know it's not the case, seems like they have won a home game since, playoff game since Joe Montana was scoring.
And this is fine for you to say, but you've got to convince me Tennessee can win this game.
I can't, especially if the way you play is compromised by the health, one guy out, one guy limping. It doesn't really work, so I'm going Kansas City, too.
The Saturday night game looks a lot better than the one we just talked about. The Falcons, last year's Super Bowl team, they go out to play the Rams, this year's IT team. Wilbon, do you trust the rookie coach and the suddenly hot young quarterback to translate regular season success into playoff success?
Trust? No. No, I don't trust. I mean, it could happen. And maybe going back to Bill Walsh, maybe this is a Walsh-Montana thing we're looking at the beginning of it.
Okay.
You were there for the beginning of that.
Yeah.
There wasn't like prescribed greatness right away. They had to actually work into it. Maybe, but I'm not going to trust it. In the playoffs, you got to earn that. You got to show somebody. Yeah. I hate when coaches and players, people in sports say, well, I don't have anything to prove. Yeah,
everybody
you do. You got something to prove, and it starts here.
Yeah, there's an amazing little statistic here about Sean McVay is so young that Matt Ryan is actually older than him.
Yeah.
The quarterback on the other side, who I didn't think was that old. This is the one game where I look at the road team. There's the shortest number in this. It's only 6. This is the one game of the weekend that I look at the road team, and I think they can win. And I know that Atlanta has disappointed me all year when I thought they were ready to win. But we sat here, we listened to Steve Young say that playoff experience is actually important.
Matters.
That it's a different kind of game. And the Rams haven't been in it, and McVay hasn't been in it, and Goff hasn't been in it, and the Falcons haven't. So I think and I'd love to see the Rams win because they've been very exciting this year. But this is the one where I think the road team can win.
I want to see if the Rams are as complete as the personnel suggests. I mean, they play defense. They got Todd Gurley. I mean, these are the things that help you win in January. And I know we don't talk about on the road because they're at home. But the things they have help you win if you have to go play in the cold somewhere. It seems like every place is either a dome or 70 degrees. But Tony, like you, I always feel Atlanta disappoints.
Yeah.
And now I feel Atlanta's in a position where they can go, wait a minute, we've done this.
It's interesting.
Matty Ice, you trust Matty Ice on a road playoff game?
I trusted him last year. I don't know that I trust him this year. It's interesting. I know you don't care about spreads. The numbers are very, very high.
They're all high.
The numbers
They're all
are
too high.
And that's because last year on Wild Card
Home
Weekend,
teams all won.
All won.
But doesn't mean you have to pick them by 7.5 or 8.
8.5.
You're the spread guy.
Cases.
You got all 4 home teams?
No, did you just listen to the show? I just said I thought Atlanta could win.
All right, just you know.
Am I doing the show alone?
Yeah, you should be. You and TB12, you can get his guy. You know, then you can make people decide whether they're going to come to be with this show or work and train separately. You like that? The Bills will play their first postseason game in 18 years down in Jacksonville, with the Jaguars playing their first one in 10 years. Call it the Unlikely Bowl. The last time the Bills won a playoff game, that was 23 years ago, and they may not even have Shady McCoy in this one.
23 years
Jim
ago?
Kelly, Thurman Thomas,
Wow.
Reed. Jacksonville enters having won 5 straight at home by an average of 16.5. Tony, Jayville won its first division title, playing its first home game for the first time since 1999. Isn't their season, win or lose, already a success?
Absolutely. They were 3-13 last year. Okay, so Doug Marrone gets a lot of credit. Tom Coughlin gets a lot of credit. Now, I think that the people in Buffalo really don't want to lose to Jacksonville. They don't want to lose to Doug Marrone because he ran out on them. Like they hate his guts.
He had a job. He had a bird in the hand and said,
But you need to tell me this, and I said this about Tennessee, and I would say it more for Buffalo. You need to tell me how they're going to score. You know, everybody says every defensive player in the league thinks Blake Bortles stinks, but nobody thinks Tyrod Taylor's Joe Montana yet either. So, and Jacksonville is a really good defense, and if McCoy doesn't, you just tell me, where do they get points?
It appeared from practice and being lined up with the other backs that Shady McCoy is going to be there. Appeared. Okay?
Okay.
So if Shady McCoy's there, maybe you don't have to score that many. I mean, all these teams that were used to scoring a bunch, they're going to score fewer in the playoffs.
You think you have to score more than 3?
Coaches are more conservative.
How many do you think you got to get?
In that game,
13?
19.
Okay. Jacksonville is
19
number 2 in the
points win that
entire
game.
league in yards allowed, number 2 in the entire league in
I know,
points
their
allowed.
defense has been
And,
really
and
good.
Buffalo's not a good offensive team to begin with, so make the case for me so I hear it.
I just made it. I mean, look, wait a minute. Buffalo, don't make Jacksonville now sound like
No,
the,
they're not a
Patriots,
powerhouse.
the 2007
No.
Patriots. And what about nerves in those games? What about your boy Blake Bortles, who every defensive player in the league says is a choking, awful dog?
Yeah.
So now we're going to...
But again, nobody looks at Buffalo and they say, whoa, it's a juggernaut.
Make a pick.
And by the way...
Mr. Binghamton, who you picking?
Oh, no, I'll pick Jacksonville.
Oh,
I will.
You're going against your roots.
Because
You're
Doug
betraying your
Marrone
people.
did not start the Nathan Peterman era.
Where's all
Thank
your
you.
Binghamton stuff? The
Once
Binghamton
again,
Bearcat. Here's what he cares about that part of Buffalo. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. You're picking
Binghamton
Jacksonville.
is 4 hours
What are you
from
going to tell
Buffalo.
me? You got more of your
4
people
hours.
in Jacksonville?
Okay, I'll switch to make you happy.
It's awful.
Once again, the Sunday
Awful.
late game is better than the game we just talked about. In fact, it looks like the marquee game of the weekend. Carolina and New Orleans for the 3rd time this season. New Orleans won the first 2. Wilbon, do you see the Saints with a clean sweep?
Tony, this is hard. This is really, to me,
That's why we're paying you the
matchup,
big money.
A good game. You know, you have that adage, it's really tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. But no, it actually isn't.
No.
People do beat teams 3 times in a row.
That is attributed to Dean Smith and basketball.
I know,
it has nothing
it
to
doesn't
do with
carry
anything
over
else.
to football,
No.
but it can be physical advantages you can exploit.
Yeah.
I just think that Cam Newton has lived all year with the haters, and it roils him. And something says to me that while Drew Brees has a greater resume, it's happened over a longer period of time, he's got a Super Bowl title, Cam's been, didn't win.
Yeah.
This is a Cam Newton personal. This thing is personal to him, and I'm in the pick Carolina mode.
Yeah, I think it's undeniable. And I looked at Carolina in the same way that I've looked at Atlanta for much of the year, where I said, gee, they're not quite as good as I think they ought to be. But they closed 7-2.
Yeah.
That's really impressive to close 7-2. I'm going to go with New Orleans because I think for the first time in the last 4 or 5 years, they actually have players on both sides of the ball. I mean, they're 10th in defense. Usually they're 40th in defense in a 32-team league.
Awful.
And they're 10th this year in defense. And Brees, he is a Hall of Famer. And, Cam Newton may be a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. So I think they will win the game. Close game.
That team at home, unlike Kansas City, they're great. The Saints are great at home.
Well, they sure used to be. I don't know if they still are.
Okay, the franchise has had good success at home, and so is your boy Sean Payton. So that's impossible to ignore. You don't want to go totally against that.
If you ask me,
I still think
which
Cam
games
Newton,
do I want to see? I want to see the Rams and I want to see. Yeah, those are the ones I want to see.
NFC games.
Let's take a break. Coming up, what is the word for the Raiders' reported 10-year offer for John Gruden? Time for What's the Word, where honorary Dr. Kornheiser puts on a clinic in humane letters.
Really?
Let's get the first one from the producer over the loudspeaker.
The Raiders would be blank to give John Gruden a 10-year, $100 million deal.
They'd be gambling. These are the reports that this is what Gruden will get over that many years and that it will be announced on Tuesday. I say gambling because I think this is predicated on their ultimate move to Las Vegas, where they believe that the money will flow like water and they want a sexy guy like John Gruden to guarantee that they sell a whole bunch of seats. I mean, it's too much money. It's too many years. But Vegas is all about money.
Well, when it's too much money and it's too many years and it happens in Vegas, it's matrimonial.
Yes, it is.
You are just put the handcuffs on each party. They couldn't get away from each other. I know Gruden went out there and said, it's a fallacy to say that anybody offered me ownership. Well, I guess not. Who needs ownership if somebody's going to give you as a coach $100 million?
10 years. 10 years.
That's a long time.
That lasts 9 years and 8 months more than marriages in Las Vegas.
Are there any coaches you would give that to?
Not now. You have to be
Lamar
in your 60 to get it.
will be a blank NFL player.
He'll be a doubted NFL player. I think he's really good. He's also really slight. I think of Robert Griffin, who was electric when he got into the league and then couldn't hold up. He got injured too much. They both are Heisman
was electric. What the hell is this kid? He's the electric eel.
Also a Heisman Trophy winner. But I think what it's going to take, because you know how NFL people think, it's going to take a coach who believes emphatically in this kid and says, I want him.
That's why Lamar Jackson will be a maybe NFL player. Maybe. and maybe is in not for long if he tries some of them spin moves against a linebacker who plays on Sunday as opposed to one who plays only on Saturday. Because they, as Robert Griffin will find out, and that's a great analogy. Seriously, they'll pop you. They'll put you out.
And they're fast.
Done.
They can catch you.
Strong, and they mangle you.
Yes.
Even with the rules that work against all defensive players, will mangle you. Look, I root for this kid because he's great to watch, but it's a maybe.
Next.
Gerald Green should feel blank about the Rockets signing him to a league minimum contract.
He should feel grateful, and I go back and forth between grateful and underpaid. Grateful because last week he was completely out of the league, and underpaid because he's getting the minimum, which is $872,000, which most people in America would walk through fire for, but not NBA players, particularly players who come off the bench the other night and scored 29 points.
Tony,